Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Lafreniere with Fox Valley Symphony. We're here talking to some of our friends in the nonprofit world of Fox Valley. And today, a very special guest, a friend of mine, Oliver Zorno from the Building for Kids, formerly Fox Valley Symphony Orchestra. I believe, Oliver, isn't that right?
That is correct. Thanks for having me today, Jamie.
Great to have you here. And tell me a little bit about Building for Kids. I mean, you guys are a cornerstone of our community. And right now it's a little bit different. We have to spin things a little bit differently. And you've been doing an amazing job of doing that, Oliver. Congratulations to you and your whole team. So tell me a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Building for Kids Children's Museum is a cornerstone in our community, an opportunity for families to connect with each other, with the community, and to explore and inspire through, early play-based learning experiences, as well as those critical cultural experiences, exposure to the arts, sciences, and humanities. We're a really important piece in the fabric of the community, but a children's museum does not look the same during a pandemic, that is for sure. So we closed our doors in early March for the health and safety of our visitors and the community, and we pivoted immediately to a virtual offering. So we began with virtual programming on our Facebooks. We gradually grew to at-home family activity kits and have really found a niche with these collaborative, partnered, live performances that we've been doing with organizations like the Fox Valley Symphony to make sure that our families stay engaged with each other, with the community, and with culture in the Fox cities. We've pivoted more and more. In June, we've been working very closely with our public health director to make sure that the Building for Kids always puts health and safety of the community first. And so we've designed innovative ways to engage inside the museum throughout this summer. And so that started with small group programs where you would go into one of our classroom spaces and there would be a couple of other families there, but they would be distanced at workstations more than 10 feet apart to make sure that you're able to give kids that critical exposure of seeing other kids participating in activities that they're participating in with the facilitator at the front of the room guiding them through an art or a science activity. We've then also expanded, we opened our exhibits in July for the first time. And these exhibit exploration sessions are really unique in that the museum is divided up into 4 segments, and your family or household would reserve one section of the museum that your family would be the only family playing on those exhibits for an hour. And then we would close the museum down and we would sanitize and disinfect everything that was used during your playtime. And then another family would have that exclusive opportunity to connect with our exhibits and play in those spaces. We know that as the weather changes, that's going to be even more critical to make sure that families and kids have an opportunity for a safe place to play during the cold weather months. And so we're excited to be able to offer that as well, making sure that safety is always our #1 priority.
That really is so important to have both. And right away, as soon as the shutdown happened, you guys were on it with virtual programming for families at home and your take home kits. They were fantastic. And people were so desperate for that content, and you were right there with it. So thank you for that. And you're right, they still need to get out. And especially now with the cold weather coming, I think winter is going to be a really important time. And I think it's even more important. I mean, it's really exclusive that you get to play in a space, by yourself. How many times do you get to do that? I mean, all families who grew up, know they all have their favorite exhibits and they all know what their favorites are. So it's really fun to be able to do that.
My family has a little bit of privilege access to the Building for Kids, and yet my wife, during the first exhibit exploration session that she brought the kids on, she told me that it was the first time in her life that she's had the opportunity to play on our crane, because always, even when she was a child, the crane here has got a line of kids and she never waited in line for the crane. But
Yeah.
now the family can reserve exclusive access to Construction Junction and get to play on that bolt crane. So it's pretty remarkable the opportunity that you have here with the exhibit exploration. It means that we're not reaching the 10,000 visitors a month that we're used to, but we are seeing a significant number of families come in for these critical sort of play sessions when they know that they can have a safe environment to play in. The Building for Kids is committed to that providing an innovative way to reach. And so we continue to listen to families and our members to make sure that we're here to support them as this pandemic and recovery process goes on. And we're committed to ensuring that our community continues to put kids and families first in making those decisions and making sure that the things that they need are available.
And you guys have been doing such a great job with that. I think innovative is the best word that I can use to describe you guys. A really good example of that is everybody in town, whether you have kids or not, everybody knows the children's parade. And you guys did a great job of reshaping that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the annual children's parade here at the Building for Kids typically has 1,000 kids marching down College Avenue in their homemade floats and costumes. And it's really a remarkable sight to see. And we knew that something like that wasn't possible this year. But rather than throwing in the towel, our team got to work and found a way to flip the whole thing on its head. And we started the Children's Parade of Yards. Along with our partners at ThedaCare, we were able to make sure that creativity and imagination was able to be expressed and celebrated across our community, with over 250 people helping decorate yards across the Fox cities, and judges going around to celebrate that creativity and give awards for different categories as well. There's really some remarkable things. My favorite in the Parade of Yards, well, I guess one of the most inventive ones, was a garage door that opened and closed that showed the mouth of a monster.
Yes.
So, Monster House. And I drove up and I thought, oh, they put eyes on their house. Like that's really clever. But then there was a little button with a bottle of hand sanitizer and it said, press if you dare. And you pressed it and the mouth of the garage door turned into this monster mouth that opened and closed. And I think that was a remarkable, I can't imagine the kitchen table conversation that led to that.
That was my favorite. I really love that one. I like the Candyland one too, though. That was very cool. But yeah, the Monster Garage, I just thought whoever came up with that was brilliant. Really.
It was absolutely. And that's really the cool thing, is that we were able to retain, I've always said that the core of the Children's Parade isn't the marching down the street. It's the week before where grandpa's with the grandkids in the garage building the float.
That's right.
We were able to create those at-home family bonding opportunities, that opportunity for the family to get together and celebrate the creativity of their children in a safe way. And so we were really proud to be a part of that.
And speaking of celebrating with your family, you guys are starting a wonderful new program called Welcome Baby. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Welcome Baby community is something that's been in the works here at the Building for Kids alongside our partners for a couple years now. We've been anticipating this launch, and we didn't anticipate launching it in the pandemic. But we all know that those first few months and first few years of being a first-time parent can be an isolating time and a confusing time, and a time that's difficult to connect to resources. And so we launched the Welcome Baby community to be that connector and that resource for all families in our community. So as of now, any first-time family in the Fox Valley is able to get a free 18-month membership to the Building for Kids. And they're able to get that by connecting through one of our monthly connecting events. And then there's a whole host of resource providers and connections that are developed there. And really the core is about building trusting relationships from the start, connecting families to one another and to those resources in the community, so that if a family gets down the road and they need to access one of those resources, we've eliminated the friction. You know, an example that I've used before is that there's a delay that often occurs when a pediatrician will make a referral to a birth to 3 program if they've noticed a developmental delay in a child. And so if the child's 18 months and the pediatrician notices a developmental delay and they make a referral, and that family has a lot of questions. Who is birth to 3? What are these people going to do? What does this mean for me and my family? But if the question really turns into, oh, I got a call from Wendy. That was that Wendy that I met at the connecting event before we had this challenge. I have a trusting relationship with her already because I've been walking this entire journey of being a parent with those resources around me and connected through the Building for Kids. And so that reduces that friction, increases the likelihood that that child is going to receive the services they need when they need them. Removing the stigma that exists around accessing resources in our community and really making sure that every child has access to whatever they need to ensure, reaching their developmental ceiling is our goal.
Well, it's really relieving that stress for the parent and taking away the unknown. And it also really builds a community.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're about here at the Building for Kids, is really about connecting each other to the community and to people on a similar life journey.
It's just wonderful. You guys are doing so much. Thank you for all you're doing for the community.
Not a problem. We're excited to be a part of it.
How can we help? Very important. How can we all help?
Yeah, so the Building for Kids, I think that this is something that is probably happening in a lot of these conversations, Jamie, but that, a children's museum is a really remarkable place, but these spaces incur significant costs, whether they're utilized by one person or 120,000 people. And so the Building for Kids right now is getting ready to launch our Childhood is Essential campaign. And this campaign really seeks to push forward that belief that childhood is one of the core things our community needs to protect during this pandemic and recovery, and that the Building for Kids is a key part of that. And we need more community support at this time. We're facing significant revenue shortfalls every month, and typically the Building for Kids covers the majority of our costs through those earned revenue sources, admissions and memberships, that we are not going to see for many months. And so it is at this time that we do need the community to visit us at give.buildingforkids.org/essential. Again, give.buildingforkids.org/essential, and join us and make sure that we are investing in our future as a community.
Every little bit helps, and anything you can do to help matters. It matters, because to keep these programs going, they need the space to do it and the people to do it. So any help you can give is appreciated. Thank you, Oliver, for all of you and your whole team and everything you're doing in our community. It's so important to keep everything solid. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jamie, and thank you for the work that the Fox Valley Symphony does. It is critical in our community as well.
Well, we look forward to lots more partnerships with you. In fact, you and I are off to look at one right now, aren't we?
Yep.
Just a few more minutes away. We have a Storytime Live coming up.
Awesome.
All right, thanks. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.